The second round of this year's Formula 1 Championship brings us to Imola for the first ever sprint weekend in Formula 1 history. The new format sure to bring closer racing over the course of the season. Red Bull were fastest in practice once again, with Charles Leclerc topping the times. However, Max Verstappen arrived to Thursday's press conference with a swagger, stating his intention to win the World Championship back from Malachi Wilson, and that he planned to whitewash this weekend, by which he means taking both the sprint and the race itself. Mercedes in particular struggled last time out in Australia and found themselves coming home behind the dominant Red Bulls and Ferraris. With upgrades expected for their two drivers, George Russell and Lando Norris, over the coming weeks, we could potentially see a third team joining the title fight, however with a huge mountain to climb with at least 2 race weekends already in the rearview mirror. And finally, AlphaTauri, from their upper echelons to winning races last season, now falling down to the mid-pack in these new 2025 regulations. They stated this weekend their aim is to get both drivers, Pierre Gasly and Liam Lawson, over the finish line in both the sprint and the race, and start to build on things from there, going further into the racing season. What is going on, everybody? Zach RC here, welcome back to the channel and welcome along to episode number 2 of F1 The Prodigy Season 4, here for the first ever sprint race in the series, the Emilia-Romagna Sprint, here at the wonderful Imola circuit. I'm looking forward to this one. It's going to be a very exciting little race here. We're going to jump right into the starting grid here, going to waste absolutely no time at all and get into the grid for the sprint itself. So starting on pole position then is none other than George Russell from Mercedes, a very shock pole position for the Silver Arrows given their pace in Australia. And Max Verstappen starts in second place, having taken the championship lead with the win last time out in Australia. Moving on to row number 2, it's Lando Norris in third and Charles Leclerc in fourth for Red Bull. Carlos Sainz 5th and Sergio Perez back up to where he belongs in 6th for McLaren. The two Alpines have Albon and Ocon on row 4. Wilson starts in 9th and Zhou Guanyu rounds up the top 10. 11th is Robert Schwartzman, alongside him is Pierre Gasly. It's Oscar Piastri and Liam Lawson, a pair of debutants on row number 7. Mick Schumacher starts alongside Thierry Porsche on row 8. Row 9 it's Daniel Ricciardo for Aston Martin and Felipe Drugovich for Williams. On the final row, Lance Stroll and Valtteri Bottas round out the grid. Moving on to the formation lap now for the start of the sprint itself. Now the reason I'm doing these as separate videos is just purely due to time constraints. Now I'm back in my usual routine and at the times we're putting in as much effort as I can. Well, obviously not as much effort, but I can't dedicate as much time to these as I'd like. So for the time being, we'll be separating these just sprints and races. But regardless, we'll still be creating good content for you guys, so hopefully enjoy some good racing as you get ready now to line up for the grid for the start of the race. If you have been enjoying the series so far, guys, make sure to leave a like, share and subscribe. If you're new around here and haven't seen this series before, then go check out the first episode of the new season, get yourself caught up a little bit more, and check out the playlist as well. They'll be down there in the description for the first couple of seasons, and there'll be a playlist, there'll be a card for the playlist of season 4. As we line up now for the grid, let's start the Grand Prix. A bit of a poor qualifying for Malachi Wilson. He's got a bit of work to do now in this sprint, but with the extra part of the racing in terms of the sprint, we'll have a good opportunity to do that, make up some places for the actual Grand Prix itself. So here we go. We're going to go to 5 red lights for the Emilia-Romagna Sprint, the first ever sprint race in F1 The Prodigy history. And it's lights out and we are underway. It's a decent getaway from Wilson compared to Zhou Guanyu on our right, who's going to fall in front of him going towards turn 1. Ocon and Albon managed to charge out ahead, and up front Verstappen fueling Russell for the lead. We go unchallenged around the inside. On the outside, Zhou Guanyu to come at us again at turn number 1 through the Tamburo chicane for the first time. We get the edge of him. We're going to go at the inside of Ocon there, sorry, and we're going to take Albon as well around the outside if we can into the Villeneuve chicane. This is a fantastic start. A poor start turned into a good one. We've had 2 places just like that, managed to find our way past both the Alpine machines, and we're now up into P7, so that's a points paying position already. Of course, only the top 8 get points in the sprint, so we've got a lot of work to do here in order to get ourselves high up the grid if we can. Next target in front of us is the McLaren of Sergio Perez. Perez absolutely outperforming that McLaren so far this weekend. He's been a tough character to beat. Make our way now towards Minerali for the first time in this sprint. Perez about half a second up the road, Albon about half a second behind, so it's all quiet for us for the time being, but he's getting closer now. The tyre driver could be looking to try and line a move going down into one of the last 2 corners, into the 2 left-handers that make up the end of the lap. Perez still just there out of reach as Norris 1.2 in front of us, about half a second in front of the Mexican. Up front I can still see Russell showing the way as he makes his way through the penultimate turn and now into the final left-hander to complete the first lap of this race. We're going to hang back here in 7th place. But we've used the majority of our ERS, we used half the battery for our deploys and just about used up here towards the end of the lap. We're going to just about hang on to it and we'll use that to close in now to begin lap number 2 of this race. We're bringing that gap down to 4-3 and now just over 2 tenths. It's going to be very tight. I have to go very late into turn 1, no chance of that happening. We're going to stick behind Perez for the time being to wait for the best opportunity to to arise. A couple of corners later than in lap number 2, there's a bit of a scuffle in front of us there. There was contact with Verstappen, and we're very near caught up in that. We had to brake very suddenly there to stop ourselves from smashing into Perez. He managed to find a way past Norris amidst the chaos. So Norris down to P6, and we're now still in P7. Perez in 5th as Albon tried something very cheeky there through Minerali, which hasn't got away with it, and we're still holding on to 7th place for the time being. It's about even Steven in terms of where we were earlier on the lap. Moving on to lap number 3 now, the exact same spot. We've got Perez and Norris going at it, and Perez has gone well off the track, and we've got to once again slam on the brakes in order to avoid smashing into him for potentially the second time. Perez drops back one up to P6, and Norris is our next target, about a second up the road. DRS has been enabled by this point. We are just out of range with a mistake made at Minerali to lose even more time. Pushing on to start lap number 6 now. It took a while for Perez to be able to keep pace with us, but this time to try and laugh a move going down towards the Tamburello chicane at turn number 1. He'll look to the outside. We'll give him the room on the high side, going upstairs into the first corner. It's going to be very tight. We'll have to squeeze in just a little bit there. Nice and fair. We've managed to get away with it. Nice and easy. Meanwhile, further up in front of us, going on to lap number 6 themselves, were the leaders a couple of moments ago. Leclerc decided to have a go at Russell for the lead. He's managed to find his way past Verstappen. He's going to try and get his way around the Brit as well. Russell just managed to hang on through Tamburello. The two Red Bulls, they're really giving him a hard time so far in this Grand Prix, sorry, in this sprint. But he's managed to hold on. He's doing an incredible job here. As long as he can keep things going. There is a threat of rain coming over the course of the next couple of laps. Moving on to lap number 8, things have definitely gotten a lot wetter. But right now, it's still looking like we'll be okay on dry tyres. So let's see what happens. We've got a message there, Liam Lawson, who's out of the race, unfortunately. What's happened to the AlphaTauri team, who said their intention was to get both of their cars to finish, and now they haven't managed to finish the sprint. We've got a couple of cars behind him coming into the pits. He's a lot slower down the main straight. Those guys coming in for intermediates. There goes Dragovic, who almost had to slam on the brakes there to avoid hitting him. So Lawson now pulling over to the side of the track, and he is out of the sprint by the looks of things. He'll be starting dead last for the race, if I'm not mistaken, and that is it for Liam Lawson. So AlphaTauri once again retiring a car. Verstappen into the pits now in front of us. It comes to the end of lap number 8. You see how much wetter it's got. We're going to take a risk here. We're going to go with the lead pack. I'm going to try and stay out and gain as many places as we can, if we can. We'll have to see if anyone else in that lead pack chooses to come in. But there is Verstappen now. Only one of them who has any intention to slide into the pits. Even if Leclerc wanted to, he couldn't for the time being. I get the feeling that once they've brought in Verstappen, they'll now bring in Leclerc on the next lap as well. So I have to see what they do there. But Verstappen in, nice easy stop, no traffic around him. Fresh intermediates on the car. I have to see what he can do with those towards the end of the race. If it gets wet enough, it could potentially pay off for him. He could still beat us. You never quite know. It could all change in the next couple of laps or so. As the Dutchman leaves the pit to be hoping he made the right call. Come on to start the penultimate lap now. Leclerc into the pits now, so I was right. Red Bull bringing in both drivers. Wilson now up to 4th. We've got to hold on to this for a lap and a half, but the track is still so much wetter at this point. As you move further on into Aqua Minerali, it's fair enough it can live up to his name now. It's practically Aqua Minerali, if you get what I mean. And at this point, Verstappen is now just 2 seconds behind us. Those inters really coming into play for him, and all of a sudden we're under threat from the Dutchman going down in towards the chicane. It's going to be very tight for us here. Let's try and squeeze me. We try to go for anything on the inside, going way wide there off the track. Let's rejoin nice and fair. Let's try and squeeze Verstappen though. He's going to get the edge on us, and we've had to move over just about to give enough space to stick his nose in, and Verstappen's got away with it there. He's up into 4th place now. He's got one more lap to close down the podium runners, who is still on their medium tyres like we are. Very nearly went into the gravel there. And Sergio Perez is also went onto intermediate tyres. I didn't notice that. But him and Leclerc are on the chase now, attempting to catch up to us as they move on now to the last lap. Perez all over us here. Look how much faster he was down this main straight. He can look into the inside there. He was in the outside. Now it's the inside. But there's a couple of slight little kink of a left-hander. Into turn number 1 now. Perez looks around the outside. He's got a little bit. He's straight lined it a little bit, but he's managed to keep it on the track. And now I have to watch to fend off Leclerc as we struggle on these medium tyres. Obviously, we're really not getting higher in this race. So I have to hope that we can hold on to this one. Meanwhile, Verstappen up front is still chasing that final lap. Look how much the car is skidding there. He's really pushing that Red Bull, taking it to the limit on those intermediate tyres. Well, there's Norris. He's managed to make the move on one of the two Mercedes cars. Russell's about 5 seconds or so up the road, and there he goes past our teammate Carlos Sainz into the chicane for the final time. And George Russell will be sweating now, looking in his mirrors, because here comes Max Verstappen, who made the choice to go on intermediate. It was a bold decision, and it almost didn't pay off. If it had been any dry, it might not have worked out for him. But he's closing up the gap at a rate of knots, and it might not catch Russell though. There's only so much straight left out of the last corner as we charge towards the line. Russell, there he is. Is Verstappen close enough? I think he might just get him. It's going to be very tight to the line. He looks to the outside. He's got all the power he needs down the main straight. Verstappen unbelievably takes the sprint. Russell comes home in second, and keep the applause coming for Sergio Perez, who comes home in 3rd in the end. And we come to the last corner now, down in 11th place. So while all that was happening, we've fallen down the order it's everything we can to hold off Gasly to the line. The majority of cars pitted 11th place. We've lost places there. The gamble has not paid off for us, and it's Verstappen who comes out on top with Russell second and Perez unbelievably in third place. We've got a lot of work to do now in the Grand Prix itself. Well, I'll have to wait for the next episode, you guys. So with that, that is the end of the sprint. I do hope you enjoyed this brief little format of me splitting up the sprint and the race itself. So I hope you're looking forward to seeing the race to be out in a day or two. I'll try and get out this weekend if I can. I should be able to. So with that, you guys, once again, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like, share and subscribe. Check out the playlist, and I shall see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.